It skipped the countdown. Anyways, welcome, dear listeners, to a midnight rendezvous with the unknown, where the veil between the seen and the unseen grows thin, and the echoes of the past whisper secrets in the darkness. I'm your guide through the shadows, Joe Rios, and tonight we gather around the virtual campfire to share some of the most hauntingly scary stories from the Hispanic community. Another date when we do this, it will be from around the world. It'll be any scary story that either you submit or that I can find. In the stillness of the night, when the moon hangs low and the stars flicker overhead, our imagination comes alive with tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained phenomena, and the things that go bump in the night. So settle in, my friends, and prepare to be transported to a realm where fear reigns supreme and the unknown lurks around every corner. From the depths of abandoned houses to the winding roads of the countryside, each story we share tonight is a testament to the power of the human spirit to endure in the face of terror. So dim the lights, stoke the fire, and let the chill of the night air send shivers down your spine as we embark on a spine-tingling journey together. But beware, dear listeners, for once these tales are unleashed into the night, there's no telling what horrors may lurk in the shadows. So gather your courage, hold tight your sense of wonder, and brace yourselves for Midnight Tales, hauntingly scary stories. Subscribe now if you dare, and let the midnight hour be your guide through the realm of the unknown. And a little side note, I know this episode was supposed to be outside, but where I live in Texas, it is so windy outside. I did not want to start a fire out there and have it jump over to my wood pile and start that whole thing up, because my wood pile has pine from the Christmas tree, has Christmas tree needles in it, and that thing would have just gone up. My entire wood pile would be gone, and maybe the fence and part of the neighbor's yard. So, not doing that tonight. Another night, and let's begin. So, let's begin like we always do. Like I said in the intro, I'm not around the campfire like I wanted it to be. That's fine. That'll be another day. We're gonna do this another time. This is the first recording with video, so y'all get to see me as I tell these stories, as I read them. Some of the stories I read, some of them I know already by heart, just because I've been told them my entire life. Ooh, focus, camera, focus. Probably need a light. I'll turn on my ring light next story, see if that helps a little bit. But anyways, weird news like always. First weird news that I can think of, which is the biggest one, is going to be how Mexico is fighting itself in the the very touristy areas. I can't remember where it is exactly off the top of my head, but in those areas in Mexico, the touristy spots where everyone goes for vacations in Mexico. There it goes. It doesn't say where. Okay, cool. I guess it's happening everywhere. But in like Puerto Vallarta, places like that, coastal areas where there's beaches and, in hotels and everything, right? Where a lot of, Americans go for vacations, mainly white people. I hate to put the blame on white people, but this is what's going on. So they're going, and it's people with money. So people with money who believe that they are above most normal rules. They're going to Mexico and they're complaining. They're complaining that the music is too loud. Now, Mexicans, we're a proud people. We love our music. Our music is everything. It runs our days. It makes sure that we do things. It's our anthem to our lives. And people make money off of their music at the beaches, at the resorts, things like that. The mariachis, the las bandas, they go down there, they go to the beach, they play their music, they make money. This is how they make a living. Well, there's a video of people at a hotel, all quiet, listening to this guy play the guitar. Classic guitar, just classical guitar, very, hoity-toity. and all of a sudden gets interrupted by banda, because down on the beach there's a banda walking up and down playing their music, and they are up in arms. The people complaining are up in arms. There's one hotel owner in Mexico that everyone hates now that is also up in arms about this. They're like, you can't be doing this. It's ruining my business. It's literally driving people away from my hotels. And it got so bad to the point that the Mexican army was called in. The president had to send down the Mexican army to help calm everything down. You know what they did? They went down there with their instruments and they played right alongside the bandas on the beach, because you cannot quiet us. This is who we are. This is our music, is our livelihood. But it's an ongoing issue. We'll see what happens. A lot of people are just like, get the white people out. And it's not like, if you go on TikTok and look this up, it's everybody. Everyone's complaining about this. Like, it's not just the Hispanic community, but every community that is involved with it is on the Mexican side. Everyone's like, you can't go to another country and complain about what the people do there. It's our country. What? It's like me going to your house and telling you you're doing something wrong and expect you to change. No, it's your house. I am a guest in your house. Kind of like I'm a guest right now through this podcast. I can't tell you, hey, turn me up. Nah. You can turn me down, turn me off, ignore everything I've ever said. That is the main problem here. They believe they are entitled to this. And that Mexican hotel owner, everyone's against him on this. They're like, just go back to doing whatever you do best and stay out of the way. Let the people have their music, because this is, in the end, this is what pays for everything. This is what pays for your livelihood. I know I'm moving around a lot. I'm trying to look for my remote, for my light. But anyways, that's the only weird news I got. I don't got much today. Let's get on with the scary story. The first scary story we have today, I sound so chipper. Let's bring this down a little bit. The first scary story we have today is the Chariot of Death. Now, I've never heard of this one in Mexico. Let's get in it together. Mario walks home. It's too late. There is no one. Oh my God, this is written poorly because it's translated to English. Do I gotta tell it in Spanish? Nope. Same way. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna tell it in English and in Spanish. Let's show off my bilingualness here. Every time I hear the word bilingual, I think of the movie Next Friday. He's like, no, Leroy, I'm bilingual. There's a difference. Sorry, side tangent, me in movies. My bad. So, Mario walks home late. It's too late. There is no one on the streets. Mario walks in silence. He doesn't run. He is not afraid. He just walks through the streets at night to his house. Mario doesn't have a carriage or horse, so he walks. But Mario is happy. He is not in a hurry. He likes to walk the streets in silence. He likes to walk around the city at night. Suddenly Mario hears a sound. It's the sound of a carriage, but it's different. The sound is strange. The sound is horrible. Now Mario's afraid. He doesn't understand exactly why he's afraid, but he is afraid. Mario starts running. He runs through the streets to escape the sound of the carriage. The carriage is very close, and Mario is still far from his home. But he sees a park. Mario runs to the park and hides amongst the trees and bushes. From his place among the trees and bushes, Mario hears the carriage. He hears the noise of the horses pulling the carriage. The noise is very frightening. But Mario is curious. But he doesn't move from his seat. His fear is stronger than his curiosity. Mario stays in place among the trees and bushes for a long time. After a while, Mario falls asleep. He doesn't sleep well, but he sleeps all night. While he sleeps, he dreams Mario dreams of images of a black carriage in his dream. There are also big black horses. The horses pull the carriage. The horses run through the streets pulling the black carriage. Mario dreams about the carriage and the black horses all night long. In the morning, Mario wakes up because it is very cold. Mario is still afraid, but it's the day. Mario hears the noise of the carriages in the street. They are normal carriages. The noise of the carriage is not horrible, like the noise from the night before. Mario gets up and continues home. It's sunny, and there are people on the street, but Mario is still afraid. He arrives at his house, but Mario is still afraid. All day long, Mario thinks about the awful sound of the carriage. He thinks of the image of the black carriage from his dreams. He thinks about the scary black horses. Mario is afraid. In the afternoon, Mario wants to talk to someone about his experience, so he visits a friend. His friend's name is Caesar. Mario arrives at Caesar's house and explains the event of the previous night. I was walking home after work. There was no one on the street. Suddenly I heard a carriage, but the carriage was different. It had a horrible noise, Mario explains. Maybe it was the chariot of death, Caesar answers. The carriage of death? Mario repeats. Yes. People here say that death comes at night in his chariot, stops in front of the house of people who are about to die. When a person dies, death takes his soul in his chariot. Death collects all the souls during the night and then takes the souls to the other side. What is the carriage of death? Mario asks. I don't know exactly, Caesar says. Some people say that he is very big and elegant. Other people say it's a small and ugly. Some people say that the horse that pulls the carriage, and others say that there are many horses. Some people say that death itself drives the chariot in the form of a skeleton. Other people say it's a man dressed in black that drives the carriage. Mario thinks about the carriage. He thinks of the dream, images of him. He thinks of the black carriage and the big horses. Mario is afraid, but he is also curious. Where did you see the carriage? Caesar asked Mario. I didn't see the carriage. I only heard the noise of the carriage. I was in the park. I'm very curious, Caesar admits. I want to see the carriage. I want to see what it's like, who's driving, and how many horses there are. Mario is also very curious. At this point, he is more curious than scared. So Mario and Caesar make a plan. They make a plan to go to the park and see the carriage of death. Oh man, this is getting intense. At night, Mario and Caesar go to the park. There is nobody in the street. It is too quiet. Mario and Caesar do not speak. They listen. They listen for the sound of the carriage. Suddenly, Mario hears a noise. It's a horrible noise. It is the noise of the chariot of death. Mario is afraid. Caesar sees that Mario is afraid, but Caesar is not afraid. He's just curious. The sound of the carriage is very close. Caesar gets up and walks to the sound. Mario is paralyzed with fear and does not move from his position. A black carriage appears on the street. The carriage stops in front of the house, and Caesar observes the detail. The carriage is large and elegant. There are two black horses in front of the carriage. The horses have fiery red eyes. It's very difficult to see the person driving the carriage because all of his clothes are black. Caesar watches as the person gets out of the carriage and enters the house. He walks through the door like a ghost. When the person returns, he is as white as a ghost. The white ghost gets onto the carriage. It's obvious it's the carriage of death. Caesar is very curious and walks closer to the carriage. Suddenly the horses look at Caesar with their fiery red eyes. The person driving the chariot also looks at Caesar. The person gets out of the chariot and walks to Caesar. The person touches Caesar and Caesar falls. Well, he doesn't fall completely. Caesar's soul separates from his body. The person driving the carriage is death. Death takes the hand of Caesar's soul. Death takes Caesar to the chariot. Caesar's soul climbs into the chariot. Mario observes everything, but does not speak. He doesn't scream. Mario watches in silence. Death looks at Mario. Mario observes that Death is a skeleton with long black hair. Suddenly, everything is black. Mario thinks he's dead. In the morning, Mario wakes up in the park. He is cold. Mario remembers the events of the previous night and runs into the street. His friend Caesar is dead in the street. Mario understands that it was not a dream. Mario saw the carriage of death. Mario saw death. Now Mario is always home at night. He doesn't walk the streets alone. And every time Mario hears a carriage, he hides. It doesn't matter if it's day or night. Mario hides when he hears a carriage because he doesn't want to see the carriage of death. That is insanity. If I was walking at night, like 2024, right? There is no carriages. If I'm walking at night and a black carriage with two horses pulls up, it like if I hear it, I know what that sounds like. I know what a carriage sounds like. I know what horses sound like. If I hear it at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm running my ass inside. I'm not staying out there to see what it is because there shouldn't be horses at 1 o'clock in the morning in the middle of a city. But this was also like back in the day too, so horses were everything. Ooh, that's a long story. Let's do it in Spanish because I do have some Spanish people. Sorry about that. I really want to fix this light thing because it just keeps doing this. So actually, treat is it where it might be this one actually. Should always be connected. I don't know. I honestly don't know because I can't find it. I'll have to find it in a minute. Streamlabs. Time to tell the story in Spanish. Mario camina a su casa. Es muy tarde. No hay nadie. No hay nadie por las calles. Mario camina en silencio. No corre, no tiene miedo. Simplemente camina por las calles en la noche a su casa. Mario no tiene carucha o caballo. Por eso camina, pero Mario está contento. No tiene prisa. Le gusta caminar por las calles en silencio. Le gusta caminar por la ciudad en la noche. De repente Mario escucha un sonido. Es el sonido de un caruche, pero es diferente. El sonido es raro. El sonido es espantoso. Ahora Mario tiene miedo. No comprende exactamente por qué tiene miedo, pero tiene miedo. Mario empieza a correr. Corre por las calles para escaparse del sonido del caruche. El caruche está muy cerca y Mario todavía está lejos de su casa, pero ve un parque. Mario corre al parque y se esconde entre los árboles y arbustos. De su sitio entre los árboles y arbustos, Mario escucha el caruche, escucha el ruido de los caballos que jalan el caruche. El ruido es muy espantoso. Mario está curioso, pero no mueve de su sitio. Su miedo es más fuerte que su curiosidad. I don't know why that was a hard word. I know it. Mario está en el sitio entre los árboles y el arbusto por mucho tiempo. Después del tiempo, Mario se duerme. No duerme bien, pero duerme toda la noche. Mientras duerme, sueña. Mario sueña que con imágenes del caruche negro. En su sueño también hay caballos grandes y negros. Los caballos jalan el caruche negro. Los caballos corren por las calles, jalando el caruche negro. Mario sueña que el caruche y los caballos negros toda la noche. En la mañana Mario se despierta porque hace mucho frío. Mario todavía tiene miedo, pero es del día. Mario escucha el ruido de caruche en la calle. Son caruches normales. El ruido de los caruches no es espantoso como el ruido de la noche anterior. Mario se levanta y continúa a su casa. Hace sol y hay personas en la calle. Pero Mario todavía tiene miedo. Llega a su casa, pero Mario todavía tiene miedo. Todo el día Mario piensa en el sonido espantoso del caruche. Piensa en la imagen del caruche negro de sus sueños. Piensa en los caballos negros y espantosos. Mario tiene miedo. En la tarde Mario quiere hablar con alguien de su experiencia. Entonces visita a un amigo. Su amigo se llama César. Mario llega a la casa de César y explica el evento de la noche anterior. Yo caminaba de casa a casa después del trabajo. No había nadie en la calle. De repente escuché un caruche, pero el caruche era diferente. Tenía un ruido espantoso. Mario explica. Tal vez fue el caruche de la muerte, respondió César. ¿El caruche de la muerte? Mario repite. Sí, personas aquí dicen que la muerte viene en la noche en su carruche, pero enfrente de las casas de las personas que están al punto de morir. Cuando la persona se muere, la muerte toma su alma en su carruche. La muerte colecciona todas las almas durante la noche y después lleva las almas al otro lado. ¿Cómo es el carruche de la muerte? Mario pregunta. No sé exactamente, César dice. Unas personas dicen que es muy grande y elegante, otras personas dicen que es pequeño y feo. Unas personas dicen que un caballo jala el carruche y otros dicen que hay muchos caballos. Unas personas dicen que la muerte misma conduce el carruche, en forma de un esqueleto. Otras personas dicen un hombre vestido de negro conduce el carruche. Mario piensa en el carruche, piensa en las imágenes de su sueño, piensa en el carruche negro y los caballos grandes. Mario tiene miedo, pero también está curioso. ¿Dónde vio usted el carruche? César le pregunta a Mario. Si no vi el carruche, solo escuché el ruido del carruche y estaba en el parque. Está muy curioso César, permite. Quiero ver el carruche. Quiero ver cómo es quien conduce y cuántos caballos hay. Mario también está muy curioso. En ese momento estás más curioso que asustado. Entonces Mario y César hacen un plan. Ellos hacen un plan de ir al parque para ver el carruche de la muerte. En la noche Mario y César van al parque. No hay nadie en la calle. Hay mucho silencio. Mario y César no hablan. Ellos escuchan para el sonido de carruche. De repente Mario escucha un ruido. Es un ruido espantoso. El ruido del carruche de la muerte. Mario tiene miedo. César mira que Mario tiene miedo, pero César no tiene miedo. Simplemente está curioso. El sonido del carruche está muy cerca. César se levanta y camina al sonido. Mario está paralizado del miedo y no mueve del parque. El carruche negro aparece en la calle. El carruche paran enfrente de una casa y César observa los detalles. El carruche es grande y elegante. Hay dos caballos negros enfrente del carruche. Los caballos tienen ojos rojos de fuego. Es muy difícil ver la persona que conduce el carruche porque toda su ropa es negra. César observa mientras la persona baja del carruche y entra a la casa. Pasa por la puerta como una fantasma. Cuando la persona regresa, tiene un fantasma blanco. El fantasma blanco sube al carruche. Es obvio. Es el carruche de la muerte. César está muy curioso y camina más cerca del carruche. De repente los caballos miran a César con sus ojos de fuego. La persona que conduce el carruche también mira a César. La persona baja del carruche y camina a César. La persona toca a César y César se cae. Pero no se cae completamente. El arma de César se separa de su cuerpo. La persona que conduce el carruche es la muerte. La muerte toma la mano del alma de César. La muerte toma a César al carruche y el alma de César se sube al carruche. Mario observa todo, pero no habla, no grita. Mario observa en silencio. La muerte mira a Mario. Mario observa que la muerte es un esqueleto con pelo negro y largo. De repente todo está negro. Mario piensa que está muerto. La mañana Mario se despierta en el parque, hace frío. Mario recuerda los eventos de la noche anterior y corre a la calle. Su amigo César está muerto en la calle. Mario comprende que no fue un sueño. Mario vio el carruche de la muerte. Mario vio la muerte. Ahora Mario siempre está en la casa en la noche. Ahora Mario siempre está en casa en la noche. No camina solo por las calles. Y cada vez que Mario escucha un carruche se esconde. No importa si es día o noche. Mario se esconde cuando escucha un carruche porque no quiere ver el carruche de la muerte. Again, I would not want to see this either. That is a scary story. I gotta save the names of these to update my descriptions here. Time for the next story. The next story is one that we've covered before, but it's one that stuck with me because this is the main one that I was told growing up. and it's La Mano Peluda. It is my favorite story, and it is the very first story that I told on this podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very much mistaken, but let's find out.
So the next one we got, I tried to fix the light situation. Worked a little bit better. So the next story is a tried and true, a classic, one that stuck with me my entire life. And this one is La Mano Peluda, the hairy hand. It's about a greedy hand that takes you away. This is a story that I talked about with Nathan, Shining Nathan, when we compared different stories that we had growing up. And this is one that was told to me to kind of keep me in line. And a lot of the stories in the Hispanic community are all the same thing. They're meant to keep us in line, not meant for anything other than how do we keep children from doing bad. So let's begin. It is said that everything happened at the beginning of the 20th century in the state of Puebla, when the famous Montes Pio, the pawn shops, which in exchange for a pledge they lent money with high interest rates. The manager of one of those famous pawn shops was Mr. Villa, better known as Horta, a short, bald, somewhat fat and hairy man. Horta was greedy, and his greed went further than any unscrupulous man who on many occasions took advantage of humble people who came to pawn their things, treating them poorly. He liked to make fun of everyone by showing off his wealth. He wore large gold rings full of precious stones to be noticed. He was immensely rich, but he was never able to help anyone, so he was not appreciated by the people of the city. So when they passed in front of him, they all murmured while asking for his hand to be dried. He basically cursed his hand. The way in which people asked for this was such that one day Horta died, and his hand became dried and withered. His rings became red, and the black and hairy appearance of his hand was unpleasant and caused terror. After burying him, the guards of the Panteon commented that at night they could see that the hand was roaming the place in search of victims to gouge out their eyes and strangle them. It is said that Horta was so bad that even when he was dead, he looked for ways to do evil and take revenge for the curse that people had sent to his hand. And at night, you could hear his hand clawing, scratching to get into people's houses, trying to take them away. And if you get out of bed, he'll grab you by the ankle, take you under the bed, and that is the last people will ever hear or see of you. At least that's the way I was told. I was also told you come in through the wall, knock a brick out, take you through that tiny little brick hole, you're gone. And I'm not going to lie, for the longest time, my bed had a backboard about this big because it was a bookshelf backboard. I was not getting close to that wall because I was not letting him come get me. This got me for the longest. It was like just a fear that I had. I normally don't say that lightly. I don't have normal fears. I'm not like bugs, bats. I don't like flying bugs come at me. I'm like, bug, But no, that's not a fear. That's just a reaction. Bugs flying at you, freaky. Like, I can go outside in the middle of the night right now. I'll be fine. I'm not terrified. I'm not scared of the dark. Whatever, right? The things that go bump in the night do not get to me. But this, a disembodied hand that could take you away. And this was also growing up when, like, the show The Addams Family was on TV, the black and white series. And there was a thing, a disembodied hand. One of my favorite movies was The Addams Family. A disembodied hand. So it kind of settled in my brain that, like, it's real. Because, child brain, how do they get a, disembodied hand to be an actor? It must be a real disembodied hand. So it stuck with me a lot. And I'm going to tell this one in Spanish too. Ooh, I'm really pushing my Spanish abilities today. And I'm not going to, I'm just going to read it like it is. Que cambió de una prenda, prestaban dinero con un alto interés. But unas palabras me van. Some words get away from me. I'm born American. Speak Spanish. Calm down. El administrador de una de esas famosas casas de empeño era el señor Villa, mejor conocido como Horta, un hombre de baja estatura, calvo, algo gordo y peludo. Horta era avaro y esta avaricia iba más allá, hombre sin escrúpulos y que en muchas ocasiones se aprovechaba de la gente humilde que llegaba a empeñar sus cosas tratándolo pésimo. Gustaba de burlarse de todos, presumido su riqueza. Usaba grandes anillos de oro llenos de piedras preciosas para hacerse notar. Era inmensamente rico, pero jamás fue capaz de ayudar a nadie. Así que tampoco fue apreciado por la gente de la ciudad. Por lonco, cuando pasaba frente a él, todos murmuraban al tiempo que piden que se les secara la mano. It's not very scary when you can't read. It's not much of a scary story if you're struggling to read. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. Let's get back to it. De su mano era desagradable y en la noche te agarraba del pie y te llevaba para allá. Ya te chingaste. You look, Spanish is my second language. As much as I always tell everyone I'm Mexican 100% pure and through, I am. Just American born. This is the struggle. But that is La Mano Peluda. I know this is like my second time telling this story on here, but it's one that just stuck with me for like my entire life. So the next one, I don't know if I've talked about it. I might have gone over it a little bit, but I'm going to tell it because it is a very fascinating story and it is real. So the next one, I don't know how to say it. It's the most beautiful bride in Chihuahua. That's the next story. Look it up. It is an amazing story. I'm going to tell you. Don't look it up. I'm going to tell you. Why am I telling you to look it up? I'm going to tell you the story. The next story is the most beautiful bride in Chihuahua, La Pasqualita. And this has been a story for, I think, since the 70s. And it's a true story. Let's get started. In the city of Chihuahua, there's a famous wedding dress store called La Popular. The Popular. The boutique could owe its fame to its stellar mannequin, La Pascualita. The mannequin, oh, there's a virus. Go away. Let me read it. There, I had to pause it because the story kept trying to upload itself, and there was a virus. Ain't nothing more scary in this time and age than a computer virus. Spanish. It's not my strong suit. I will tell the story in Spanish too. Anyways, La Pascualita. The mannequin with a slender and long, extremely elegant body has been in display case of La Popular since March 25th, 1930. A little bit longer than the 70s, like I said, when its original owner, Mr. or Mrs. Pascual Esparza, acquired it after arriving from France. It caused such an impact on her to see it, so similar to her sister and herself, that she decided to get the beautiful mannequin. It is said that from its first day in the showcase, it was the object of admiration, admiring glances from everyone who passed by, being great success for the bridal shop. But what caused such a stir about the mannequin? It turns out that the hyper-realistic features and finishes of both Pascualita's face and entire body caused admiration for her glass eyes, hair, and eyelashes made of genuine human hair implants, and her expression was lively, reflecting emotion as if she had a soul. It was in the 70s when rumors arose that she was not a wax doll, but a woman. It was said that some employees had seen her moving around the store at night, and many even said that she smiled at them when she passed by the display case. Other rumors indicate that it is the soul of the owner, who when she died was able to enter that beloved mannequin, since for a few moments they have seen that there are red veins in the eyes, and that she continues with her gaze. Several employees over the years have quit because they have seen her cry when she even moves. Others flatly refuse to dress her because they say she has greenish veins on her legs. After a while, they disappear. In other stories, it turns out that many say this mannequin arrived at the store after the owner's daughter died. Since they were impressively similar physically, it is said that this beautiful young woman was going to get married and died after being bitten by a black widow spider. People say that Doña Pascuala was so affected by this loss that she ordered her body to be mummified, to be preserved, and thus always have her daughter close by. The townspeople really felt upset and began a series of attacks against Doña Pascuala, pointing out that La Pascualita was not a mannequin but the body of her daughter. She flatly denied it, but no one believed her. Over the years, the legend became more and more imaginary, to the point that we can all believe that it is somewhat real, something that the current owner of La Pascualita seems to enjoy, keeping the legend alive. That's insane. Twice a week, her clothes are changed behind the curtains as if to preserve her modesty. They said that only a few close and trusted employees are allowed to dress and undress her. An employee who saw her naked believes that her body was not that of a mannequin. True believers leave flowers and candles outside the store and other tributes. For some, La Pascualita has achieved the status of a saint. They say that miracles happen at her feet. That is insanity. Now, to read it in Spanish. See, what I had heard, see this right here, the picture of the hand. It looks like it has fingerprints. Zoom in. Like you can see a nail and fingerprints. It is crazy. That's scary. But it might be a person. So here's the story, but in Spanish. Ha estado en la vitrina de la Popular desde el 25 de marzo de 1930. Cuando su dueña original, doña Pascuala Esparza, la adquirió fue después de llegar de Francia y que causó tanto impacto en ella verla tan parecida a su hermana y ella misma, que decidió hacerse del hermoso maniquí. Se dice que desde su primer día la vitrina fue objeto de las miradas de la admiración de todos los quienes por allí circulaban, siendo de gran éxito para la tienda de novias porque provocaba tanto revuelo en el maniquí. Resulta que los rasgos y acabados hiperrealistas, joder, la madre, hiperrealistas, tanto del rostro como de todo el cuerpo de Pascualita, causaban admiraciones. Sus ojos de cristal, el cabello y pestañas de implantes de genio, cabello humano, y su expresión era viva, reflejados con emociones como si tuviera alma. Fue en los años 60 cuando los rumores sobre que no era una muñeca de cera, sino una mujer surgieron. Se decía que algunas empleadas la habían visto moverse dentro del local por las noches e incluso muchos decían que les sonrían al pasar frente de la ventana de la vitrina. I might have to get my dad to like read some of these in Spanish. Send him the link. Let him do this on his computer. Nah, things gonna bug me for other stuff. Talk to me, son. If you listen to this, love you, Dad. Otros rumores señalan que se trata del alma de la dueña, quien al morir pudo entrar dentro de esa amada maniquí, y que por algunos momentos han visto que hay venitas rojas en los ojos y que Sigue con la mirada. Varias empleadas a lo largo de los años han renunciado porque la han visto llorar e incluso moverse. Otras se niegan rotundamente a vestirla porque dicen que tiene venas verdosas en las piernas y después de un rato se desaparecen. Resulta que muchos cuentan que esta maniquí llega a la tienda después de que la hija de la doña falleciera y que eran impresionantemente similares físicamente. Se dice que esta bella joven se iba a casar y murió al ser picada por una araña huida negra. La gente dice que doña Pascuala queda tan afectada con esta pérdida de que mandó momificar a su cuerpo para preservar y desde ese modo tener siempre cerca a su hija. And that's the story. Esa es la historia. Corte. Cut. Because, man, my Spanish is struggling. Look, reading Spanish is actually pretty easy if you know how to conjugate the words and how it goes. But, like, being a Spanish speaker and an English speaker, and I can read and write in English and read and write in Spanish to an extent, because the way the words are said are the way that they're written. So the way a word is written in Spanish is the way that it is said in Spanish. So, gente, it is spelled E-E-N-T-E. Gente. That's, that's not like English. English, there's like the word for, F-O-U-R, or for, F-O-R, or for, F-O-R-E. See how the same word is spelled 3 different ways, but it's pronounced exactly the same? So, with that kind of knowledge in my head, reading this out, I'm struggling because certain words require a certain different level of pronunciation, and my brain is trying to figure out how to pronounce it because I know English as my primary language, and it is struggling to unify it. Like the best way I can explain it, that was a pretty decent explanation, but the best way to explain it is the word because. You spell it B-E-C-A-U-S, but it's pronounced because. And in Spanish, it will be pronounced because because it's spelled because. B-E-C-A-U-S. E. I forget to spell because. But it's in Spanish. This was a commercial a long time ago. Se escribe because. Se pronuncia because. It is spelled because. It is pronounced because. So that kind of knowledge kind of messes me up a little bit when it comes to reading in Spanish. But if I wasn't reading it out loud to y'all, done deal. But hope you enjoyed the stories, even though I butchered it in Spanish. And hope some of them were scary up until I started laughing because a story ain't scary if you can't read, my guy. So hope everyone has a good night. Hopefully next time we can do one. We'll do one outside if it's not windy. It is super windy outside. Enjoy the total solar eclipse if you are in its path. Where I live, I am in its path. Stay tuned for updates and things like that on Instagram and TikTok. I'm gonna post videos and all that stuff. Did I lose it? I got this thing right here. I wonder if the camera can see through it. I haven't even opened it yet. It is a total solar eclipse cap for my phone. This photo filter this side towards the sun. So can you see through it? Oh, that's pitch black. I can't see through it at all. So hopefully it works with the camera. And that is stay spooky, my friends. And I will see y'all next time.